From the Detroit Free Press, I'm Robin Chan with today's Voice Briefing. It's Friday, March 22nd, 2024.
This is Phoebe Wall-Howard, an automotive reporter at the Detroit Free Press. I wrote a story about a young man, an 18-year-old from Utah, and he hoped to save up his money for a Ford Mustang. He didn't have enough days in his life to save up the money. He couldn't work at Sodalicious for as many hours as he needed to. His father intervened and said, "This is something I want to do and need to do to make my little boy happy." This is the story about a young man who talks about squeezing every minute of every day, just today, and living for just today, and tells you why. And what happened when Ford CEO Jim Farley heard about Joseph and his Mustang. Go to Freep.com to learn about this very special family. Freep.com.
Where does art thrive in Metro Detroit? Well, not in boathouses on the east side. Hi, I'm Bill Leitner, staff writer at the Free Press in Detroit, with a story about a curious divide. On the west side of Metro Detroit, fine art is created, taught, and sold in many places. On the east side, not so much. Maybe east siders pour their dough into boating. That's a long-standing joke that just might contain a grain of truth. For more about this great art and boating divide, see my story at Freep.com. You'll hear about spring art shows opening across Metro Detroit, from Birmingham to downtown Detroit and even over into, yes, Macomb County, just a bit, in Romeo, well north and west of the many marinas on Lake St. Clair. They're having their own spring openings right now.
I'm Andrew Burkle with the Free Press Sports Department. And as the old saying around these parts goes, January, February, Izzo. The NCAA tournament kicked off yesterday with Michigan State playing the very first game of the round of 64. And from the get-go, you could tell this was not the same Spartans group who was in cruise control for much of the regular season, as they smashed Mississippi State 69-51 in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tom Izzo's squad showed a little bit of this last weekend in the Big Ten tournament, first against Minnesota and then at a close loss to Purdue. But this was different. It seemed like the Spartans suddenly found that effort and enthusiasm that Izzo had been saying was missing for much of the season. And importantly, they also hit their jumpers, shooting 50% from the field in the comfortable win. With the Spartans beating Mississippi State as the 9 seed, the program now has 17 wins in the NCAA tournament when playing a game as the lower seed. That's the most in the history of the tournament. Plus, the win moves MSU to 11-1 in school history when playing an SEC school in the Big Dance. Now the Spartans will have the tall task of trying to match that energy and possibly more when they face North Carolina on Saturday with the chance to make it back to the Sweet 16 for the second straight year. After finishing the regular season 19-14 with some great wins and some not so great losses, the narrative around this Michigan State team seemed to be they could beat pretty much anyone and they could also lose to just about anyone. In other words, the Spartans played to their competition level. And with one of the top teams in the tournament next up on the schedule, the Spartans faithful will certainly be hoping the team in green and white proves that mantra right.
Find more from the Detroit Free Press on Freep.com. That's Freep.com. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend, and you'll hear more from us Monday.